Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Weapon, and I'm bringing you another video. This one is going to be, like the title says, a little tutorial about what to do after you've reached level 20 in Destiny. And we're going to be covering a good amount of information. I'm going to try to keep the video as short as possible, but if there's something specific in the video that you want to just skip to, go ahead and click on one of the timestamps there in my little comment section, and it'll take you right to where you need to go. But as you can see, I've got a hunter level 24, so let's go ahead and get in here. And basically I'm going to be taking you from level 20. You just got there, you don't know what to do, and I'm gonna assume that you haven't heard or done any research, and just try to get you all the information that you need in order to be successful and get yourself up in those light levels. So we're gonna go over some terminology, some items, armor, and some do's and don'ts. One thing that I'm going to cover, and I should say this now, I'm not going to go a lot into Crucible reputation and Crucible marks, because they're pretty self-explaining. Like, they're straightforward. You basically go to PvP, play it a lot, and you'll get everything that you need. To me, it seems a little bit slower, and I'm an MMO player, so grinding is something that I'm used to. But if you enjoy PvP a lot, then by all means, Crucible is definitely the way to go for you. I will probably cover one or two things about Crucible that you may not know, and actually I'll probably get that out of the way first, but then I'm going to go really in depth into the Vanguard stuff, because that's where I think a lot of the meat of the bones on the bones is. And also, when a lot of the events come out, you're going to have a lot more easy time participating in the events, and just, navigating around the world. But anyway, so let's get started. Like I said, the first thing that I'm going to get into, just to get it out of the way really quickly, is that once you get to level 20, there are two separate ways that you can rank up, and it's basically PvP versus PvE, and that just determines what kind of legendary armor you'll get, and we'll get into that. But yeah, that's basically the two different forks in the road that you can take to getting your legendary armor. But let's look at the menu first, okay? And let's go over some really basic stuff before we go into the two forks in the road, and then more heavily into the Vanguard stuff. The first thing that you're going to want to look at, this is your base level, okay? Once you get to level 20, it's capped as your base level. Once you get to level 20, you are going to hear about this thing called Motes of Light. As you can see, you progress from your base level, from that point on, level 20, to getting a new mode of light every time you would gain a level. So you go out, you do regular battles, and gain experience as you normally would, and as that bar goes up, you will gain a mode of light, and that item can be used with the speaker in order to buy things, and also with Zerov 9, who you can find actually in this area, or I don't know if they're going to have him spawn around different places, but the last time he was here, the first time that I know of him arriving, he was here in this little area, kind of hanging out in the darkness. So and he's, on another note, the only person that you can get exotic armor from. And I'm jumping around a bit here, I know, but just trying to give you the information as it comes up. So in any case, I'm moving along, and that's basically what Motes of Light do. They allow you to buy different armor, and that will contribute to your next thing that we're going to talk about, which is your light level. Now, in order to get a higher light level, you need to gain pieces of armor that have a contributing number towards light. So the more powerful armor you have, the more light you'll get. So as you can see, this helmet has a light of 15. It's, a required level 20, whereas these gauntlets are required level 17 and only has 6 points of light. Now you put all these things together and they contribute to your light level. And as you can see, the more you can see the little 56 there in the lower left hand corner, which is the total amount of light that I have with all of my armor. A quick note, the only place you can get light is through armor, so you want to get the best armor with the best light rating that you possibly can as quickly as possible. And basically what a light level does is every time you gain a new one, it increases your strength, just helping you with those higher enemies and the strikes and the raids that'll be coming soon. So that's how that contributes. Now, at a certain point, there is only so much light that these blues or rare armors can give you. So you're gonna want to move on to your purples, your legendary armor, which I mentioned earlier. Now, as you can see, I already have my first chest piece of legendary armor. Actually, and there are a couple ways to get that kind of armor, but I was lucky enough to decode a legendary blueprint and ended up getting one, so that was really good. And I'm actually on my way to getting my second purple. I'm just basically grinding for reputation, and you need a rank 2 reputation in order to purchase legendary armor. So I've already got the marks for the majority of purples, but got to get that Vanguard rank up to level 2, and then you would need Vanguard rank 3 in order to buy the legendary weapons. So you can come here, and this is where you would come to check what your reputation is and how much more rep you need in order to get to that next rank. So now that we've looked at those two things, now you know what Motes of Light do, and actually we'll go ahead and run over to the speaker so that you can see, and you could probably see this for yourself, but you could see what kinds of items that he offers in exchange for Motes of Light. And to be honest, I don't see anything that he's offering currently that is of particular interest to me, but this is just the beginning of the game. It's only been out a couple days, so we'll see what happens in the future. So anyway, so the speaker is here, and as I mentioned, he offers you different items, primarily armor, cloaks, for, or whatever your customization thing is for your class. He offers it to you, a legendary of it, for 25 Motes of Light, and then also you've got the emblems.
May your
So
keep us safe.
Zur, like I mentioned earlier, he offers exotic armor for in exchange, so I think that's a lot more it's a lot better deal. But Motes of Light generally take so long to get that it's negligible, if you ask me. So now that we've gone over the basics, let's talk about the two different paths you can take towards getting your legendary armor. The first that I'll go over is the Crucible. And if you've been playing in any capacity at all, and obviously you have been because you're watching this video, you have at least played PvP once, most likely, or you definitely know about it. So what you would do is you would gain Crucible marks, and I've got a couple, and play the Crucible and win in order to get, well, not necessarily win, but you get higher reputation for winning, I believe. In addition to that, you can also, as you would for Vanguard, take some quests, or as they're called, bounties, in order to gain additional uh, reputation. And once you get that, you can get your, you know, you meet the standards for whatever it is that you want to get. You can uh, purchase your legendary armor and weapons for the Crucible. So that's the basic way you can do it. Another way that you can do it is by having an allegiance to one of the 3 factions that are available thus far in the game. And the way that you would do that is you would go seek them out. There are 2 on this side of the tower and 1 on the other. And
Where have you been, Hunter?
Dead Orbit is around here somewhere. Yeah, there they are. Upstairs is Future War, and on the other side is New Monarch. And what you would do is you would buy one of their capes, and when you buy one of their capes, every action you take from that point on, every single one, including for Vanguard and Crucible, will give you reputation towards them. But on the other hand, they only offer Crucible armor and weapons, so that's something to keep in mind. It's a quick way to gain rep, definitely, because it all stacks. But if you're not going to play a lot of PvP, then you're obviously not going to get the marks that you need in order to be able to purchase those weapons and armor. So those are the 2 ways to gain legendary for the Crucible. Now let's get to like I said, the large, I believe the larger part of the game, which is Vanguard. Now we've already spoken about Crucible marks and Crucible reputation, and Vanguard reputation and marks work exactly the same way. The only difference is, instead of playing in the Crucible, you would come, and of course, like I said earlier, you can get bounties, and they give you reputation based off of what type you take. But you would also go and do Vanguard missions and strike playlists. Now, before I show you what that looks like and how that helps, I'm going to make one note about the Cryptarch. Now, in addition to him being an excellent source of revenue for finding various items, it also helps to increase his rank as much as possible, because the higher his rank, and as it says, the higher his rank, the more likely he is to decode a engram, which has, it could be anything from a green, which is an uncommon, to a purple. So you really want to have that rank up as high as it possibly can go. Some people think it's unpopular to purchase the engrams from him, because they are very expensive and they only increase his reputation, very marginally. But if you've got the glimmer to spend, then it's a good way to go. And keep in mind, you can only have a maximum of 25,000 glimmer at any one point in time. So if you find yourself around that limit, then you definitely want to get rid of some, and this would be a great place to do it.
Be careful.
Alright. Now, and I almost forgot. Whenever he gains, and this might make it worthwhile for some people, I haven't tested it, so I'm not exactly sure if it'll work this way, but it might be worthwhile for some people to hold off on increasing his rank at all until you reach level 20, because every level you gain for him, he
What does the manifest say?
will give you a legendary engram that is uncoded, and at lower levels, he's probably not gonna decode it as a legendary for you, but it's worth at least having it and having the chance than, definitely not getting it. So that's up to you. That's just a piece of information that you can use. So now moving on to more Vanguard marks and reputation. Once you get to level 16, the strike playlist unlocks. And what this does is, it, depending on your level, and you should never do a strike unless you meet the requirements, because you're not only doing yourself a disservice, you're also doing your team members a disservice by not being fully prepared to meet the enemies. And these things can take a very long time, so there's nothing worse than getting a half an hour into a game and then you can't beat the final boss and you can't get your rewards because you just don't have the power to do it. But what these things do is, every time you complete a single strike in the playlist, and the playlist will continue to move forward until you leave the matchmaking system, you'll get whatever the rewards are. So in this case, level 18, every single time you defeat a strike, you'll get Vanguard gear. You'll probably drop some blues along the way, as well as getting some at the end of the match, and you'll get 10 points of rep. A little note about that, though, is that it's not worthwhile to play this for the rep, because you can get 10 rep just by doing missions on the planet, and we'll go into that later. But as you get to level 20, you start getting Vanguard marks. And this is a really consistent way of getting Vanguard marks, and moving up is it's the best way to consistently get more and more Vanguard marks, so that you can be able to afford your gear. And once you get to that point, it's really not that difficult. Another note, and just to reiterate what I said before, this is not the best place to get reputation. 25 rep in a half an hour, which is currently the max that you can get in these playlists, is just not worth it, because in a half an hour, I could do 10 missions on a planet and get 100 rep. But if you want to do both at the same time, and seeing as this is one of the only places you can get marks and the best, then you definitely want to come here. The other place to go is the daily heroic story. Also gives you Vanguard marks and rep. The reason why you don't see it here is because I've already done it for the day, and you can only do these dailies once a day in order to get the rewards. But there you go. That's and they usually give you a good deal of rep, experience, and marks, so it's a good place to go. Then there's also the weeklies, which are more difficult generally than the dailies, but they also give you more rewards. As you can see, I haven't finished my weekly yet. I would prefer to do it with a team. It is a little bit more difficult because of the arc burn, which causes arc weapons to do a lot more damage, and once you get to this point, you'll be able to see what these different effects are for the matches. But some of these modifiers, as they're called, they can be very difficult and make it difficult for you to get through the match. So but those are the ways that you get your Vanguard marks and your Vanguard reputation. And as you know, once you get those things, you can get your purple gear, and you can rank up your light level to the upper 20s and beyond, presumably. So I also have this level 28 strike unlocked, but because I don't have the necessary gear to select it, I can't play it yet. I wouldn't anyway, but so that's something to look forward to. And then there are also little other slots around, as you can see, like this one here and this. So I'm thinking that there's going to be more things that are going to unlock in those places in the future. But that's basically telling you what you need to know in order to rank up your character and get him up to higher levels, get your armor up, and basically, just grind out over, the next coming days or weeks, however long it takes for them to do um, more just different stuff, But one other thing to add, and actually I'll go to the moon to demonstrate this. I don't know if it'll happen, but while you're doing patrols, and you've probably seen this happen, there are public events, and public events also give you Vanguard marks. So as you can see, there are a vast variety of ways to get Vanguard reputation and Vanguard marks, as opposed to Crucible marks and Crucible rep, which is not me saying that I don't like it or I don't think that it's a good idea. I play the PvP, I enjoy the PvP, but I don't really play it for that purpose. What
I'm already picking up a few beacons. Where to?
what I play the game for, or what I play to get my legendaries for, is the Vanguard stuff, because there's just so much more of it. You can stack, and that's another thing that I like to do. For example, if I've got 2 or 3 different bounties that may coincide, for example, get 20 headshots or earn 6,000 experience or something like that, I'll try to stack a lot of these different bounties into one thing. I'll go to defeat a mission and get 20 headshots and get 6,000 experience, turn them all in, and that leads to a lot of Vanguard rep at one time. So it cuts down grinding a lot. And I'm sorry about some of the lack of gameplay. This is a live, it's not edited, it's just me playing. I don't really edit. So
okay, anyone on the scene up for some target
and
practice?
also I wanted
Send
to
details.
show you what it was that I was talking about, so that you could actually see it for yourself. Like I said, I was assuming that you didn't have any information at all. So that's basically it. You want to look out for these events, and as fate would have it, I found a little treasure chest here, and that was a dangerous one. But anyway, these items, and this is probably one of the most vital pieces of information that you're going to get that you might not know, especially early on. I haven't seen anyone mention this. Do not sell. Okay, what you can do is you can take these items that you get, and this only applies to your helium filaments, spirit bloom, the relic iron, and the spin metal. These are all things that you find from each planet, and you can trade them in for 5 either Vanguard marks at the Vanguard Quartermaster, or Crucible marks at the Crucible Quartermaster. However, do not sell these items, because they are critical in upgrading your purple armor. As you can see, not only at that point will you be using glimmer and sapphire wire, or whatever it is that your particular class uses, you're also going to be using these items, and it's different depending on the source of where you get your armor. You might get lucky like I did and decode a legendary. At this level, it's pretty rare, I would think, because firstly, it's rare in order to even get a legendary in Groom. but and to then successfully decode one into a legendary item is, you know, it's unlikely. But if you do, then you don't know what kind of item it's going to take in order to upgrade it. So you definitely don't want to waste those items until perhaps if you've already upgraded it completely. But if you've upgraded all your armor completely from legendary at that point, you probably don't need the marks anyway. So just hold on to them, and that is basically it. Pretty uneventful as far as gameplay goes, which, you know, I apologize for, but hopefully informative. And if you've got any other questions, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thanks for watching, and let me not get killed. Time to go back to orbit.